stuff like that. I thought he was brilliant. All right, next topic. I actually have a whole slate of topics, and we've been focusing on all the AEW stuff. I think the biggest story of the week so far, or at least the biggest story as of yesterday anyway, is the fact that WWE signed Stephanie Vaquer, CMLL star. I thought she was the standout performer in all of Forbidden Door. To be honest, I thought she came out of there like, hey, like this is the hottest star right now that is probably going to land on the American scene. And sure enough, AEW and WWE were both after her, and WWE won out. What do you guys think about Stephanie Vaquer going to WWE? Josh, you go first.
I mean, I know there was speculation online that she saw, and that, from everybody who hates AEW, there was speculation that she saw how AEW is run and decided, like, I'm going to go to the other place. But I think it's hard. I think it's hard to turn WWE down right now. I mean, it's just like the place is printing money. They're like, they have a system in place to train you and get you going. They have a track record of like just taking and making excellence out of people. And I think they offered her so much money. Like, I don't know how you say no to it. I don't know that they're going to do her right, but it's also like AEW's overloaded with talent right now, with female talent in particular. So like, I don't know where you put her in the lineup to actually give her room to do anything. Cause I feel like their women's division doesn't get, for how great it is, doesn't get as much time as it probably should.
It's getting better, but yeah,
it is getting better, but like there's not as much time. Like Willow should be on TV every week for a substantial amount of time for how over she is and how good she is on the mic and all that. And she's not. Like, it's weird. It's a weird choice. So like, if somebody who's that good on the mic and that charismatic and that over doesn't get time, it's like, well, somebody who English is her second language, you're running a risk, whereas at least in WWE, she's going to get trained to their style because that's how they're designed. So it feels like it's just the way to go. It's like the safer bet, especially because she's older, right? Like, she's been doing this for
31.
a while. Yes. I mean, she's not 20. So it's like, you take the surefire money that's going to get you going. Like, I look at it, I think it's like, as I get older, it's like you take the safe bet because you never know how long you're going to be doing this before it all just caves in.
A lot of people realize that if they go get that WWE money, that WWE fame, when they eventually fire you, you're going to make good money on the indies with your WWE money and WWE fame. JD, you had something. Go ahead.
Well, it didn't hurt Mystico. Like, he came back to CMLL just fine after his failed WWE run. I get where this whole thing is coming from. I think that she's always wanted to go to WWE. That's the end goal. I get why she's there. I think it makes sense. I hope they don't sand her edges down too much because she's really good. The first time I got to see her was when she worked at New Japan show in Chicago. And I texted you and John Muse. I'm like, she's really good. Like, I didn't realize that Stephanie Vaquer was this good. So I'm excited that she's got some opportunity. Where I get a little on this is she doesn't speak English very well. And WWE struggles to make stars out of non-English speakers.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm kind of like, that being said, I don't know if AEW is the right route. Either AEW would have, if she's with AEW, she would have been still doing stuff in CMLL. And I don't know. It seems like that relationship had kind of reached its end. A lot of that is, her personal stuff. I know people say, oh, she probably wouldn't want to go to AEW because Roosh is friends with her boyfriend. I'm like, oh, well, who's Roosh's brother? Like, Dragon Lee's right there in WWE. I'm sure not a whole lot of difference. So, like, 50-50. I just, if her plan is to go into NXT and just beat the shit out of all those gymnasts, okay, now I'm on board. That's going to look cool because she's got such a different, unique style that I hope they don't take away, because sometimes they do this. Like, I point back at Kenta. Like, Hideo Itami was not cool, whereas Kenta is pro wrestling's like legendary asshole. Like, they just was lost in translation. So I hope that they're able to keep what makes Stephanie Vaquer cool over there. But I do think it's probably the better move for her, like financially and just career wise. I totally understand her jumping on board. Our buddy John Muse, I was texting him about that. And, you know, he had some really cool thoughts about what they can do with Stephanie Vaquer in WWE, and he was real excited about it. And I had to poo-poo on that, be like, man, they struggle getting foreigners over. Remember when Nakamura signed? We're all like, oh my God, this is the guy, perennial Hall of Fame, like perennial main eventer. This guy, this is a can't miss. And yeah, he's been fine.
Yeah, and Andrade is the speed champion, so he gets to wrestle 3 minutes a week on Twitter. And then you go down the line, Dragon Lee. What's Dragon Lee up to? He was in a tag match on Main Event this week, I think. And so a lot of guys that struggle to speak, and guys and girls that struggle to speak English don't really get an opportunity. Now, if she buckles down and works on the English, I think that she absolutely has everything. She's tailor-made for WWE. And the fact that she's a little bit older, I don't think is going to hurt her at all, because she doesn't look like she's in her 30s, like, at all.
No.
She's a young looking person. God bless her. I'm 10 years older than her, and I look 20 years older than her. So good for her. But
yes, you do.
I think this whole thing is a wait a minute, JD. But the way this whole thing went down, you guys are going to be shocked to hear this. WWE decided to be a little bit shady in their dealings, and they got her to forego her upcoming bookings in New Japan and Red Pro. And also it looks like, Tony Khan has a little bit of egg on his face, because the reason why they're coming after Stephanie Vaquer is because Tony Khan put her on the show, which is what happened with Dragon Lee. So, and Tony Khan wasn't able to seal the deal. And, now there's, what's his name? Lucha Blog and Rob Viper and the other kind of like the Lucha Libre bloggers that are out there. They're kind of talking like, CMLL might eventually get timid because of the situation, which is what happened to them before. Whenever they started to let their stars work in the United States, they started to get plucked, and they were missing dates and all this and that. I think this has far-reaching effects into Mexico, and I think it has far-reaching effects into AEW's partnerships, because WWE is coming after AEW's partners, right? And we saw earlier, Shingo Takagi from New Japan, who was just had a 5-star match, in my opinion, with Bryan Danielson and Forbidden Door, already tweeting about Stephanie Vaquer, and he would like to go see her in Orlando coming up here pretty soon.
I thought he was trying to shoot a shot. That's how I read that tweet.
Well, yeah.
Like, here's the thing though, and I saw some of those pro guys be like, "Oh, don't worry, Shingo would never leave New Japan." It's like, well, let me tell you about a little company called Dragon Gate.
Yes.
Like, here's the thing about that though. It's like, I really feel like Shingo's kind of topped out in New Japan. Like they put a title on him, and they kind of like said, okay, we're not really going to go all in with Shingo. So at this point in Shingo's career, if he wanted to go to WWE, I don't think I wouldn't hold that against him. Again, I'm not even a WWE fan, but I get it. And New Japan's got the young guys that they want to start trying to push. Like, it's time to see what you have in those young guys. It's time to see what you have in your Musketeers. It's time to push your Amores. And I'm drawing blanks on names. I sound like an idiot, but like, it's time for them to go. Yoda Tsuji Renderita. Thank you, idiot. Shota Umino. Yeah. Like, and here's the thing with like losing Stephanie Vaquer does nothing to CMLL's business. They are still super hot in Mexico. They're going to sell out Arena Coliseo every week. Mystico ain't going nowhere. Right?
He might eventually.
WWE? I doubt that, Mike.
No, but I think if he wanted to step out from CMLL, Tony Khan would take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing is, if like we saw with New Japan, Tony goes with Tony Khan, he can go back and work CMLL whenever they need him.
Yeah,
like that's the thing. And again, he's in his late 30s. He might even be 40 at this point. So
40.
I would, okay. So I would get if that were to happen. But I mean, like, and this is why it's better to have some type of a partnership than no type of partnership when you lose guys. Yeah. So I get it.
I wish I loved. They started doing with like Nakamura. They started doing it, and they've been doing it with Io Sky a bit. Like I have no problem with and actually like the subtitling. Like I think
me too.
It's just do it. Just get it over with. Like people, we live, especially, and I would guess part of why they signed her in the first place and why they went after her so hard. As we move into the Netflix era, like they're gonna want more languages, they're gonna want more international. Like again, having worked for Netflix and seen how they use their algorithms and how they use the sort of like mentality behind how they program, they want international. Like they want to have as many cultures represented as humanly possible, because what they have is they have data that shows them how successful that is. And what they've found and what they see is that having people speak different languages is not the handicap that it used to be.
Yeah.
And I think that what you probably, the reason why you don't see it, I almost guarantee you, is Universal telling them, yeah, we don't like that. Don't do that. Please don't do that. It bothers us. You know, like that's pushback from Fox and pushback from USA that they're not going to get from Netflix.